a travel cafe, and I have named it Yo Banjare, which is like kind of a branding of my own. Banjare in our language Hindi, it means people who keep traveling from one place to another, and that's their lifestyle. So this is the idea. You can go to the next slide, please. Right, so this is me, and I currently live in New Delhi. I was born in New Delhi. I've lived here for 27 years. Just 4 years I spent in Kerala, where I did my graduate engineering in electronics and communication. And I worked as a scientist in DRDO for 6 years. And then I quit my job around 4 years back in 2013 to start something of my own, which was not very clear in the beginning, right? So this is me. Next slide, please. Right, so this is the idea of Yo Banjare Travel Cafe. This is the logo that I've designed myself, and it is going to be a chain of franchisee-based travel cafes across India that provide single-point solution for all budget traveler needs. Right, so this is one thing. So when you visualize one travel cafe, it is going to be a single-point solution for all backpacker needs, all budget traveler needs. I'm going to talk more about what these needs are in a bit more detail a little later. So this is the operational thing. This is the thing that's going to be on ground that people are going to see, the customer is going to see. The second part of this is that it's going to be backed by information technology, and the plan is to generate big traveler data bank in about 5 years' time. Right? So this is something that the client is not going to see. This is what is going to make this idea big in terms of revenues, in terms of whatever else you can think of. Right? So there are two parts to this. Right? We can go to the next slide. So this is the picture. This is the big picture. We're going to start from New Delhi. We're going to start from New Delhi with a single cafe. I've already done a prototype in 2015. I had built and tested and ran that cafe for 1.5 years, but it was not in a location suitable for such a work. Although I got really good feedback, which I'm going to talk about a little later. But what we're going to do now is we're going to open the first cafe in the place where you have a huge number of footfalls of backpackers and budget travelers. That's just next to the New Delhi railway station. That's the hub of all people flying into India and also domestic travelers. And then we're going to do this, as you can see from the picture. We're going to spread on all the major cities and all the major traveler circuits. Next slide, please.
And are you suggesting that you're going to put your cafes next to railway stations in each of these cases?
Yeah, so the idea here is that the location is critical for us. So I watched this movie, The Founder, about the McDonald's, the McDonald's story. So there I got an insight that McDonald's business is more about the location, and then they switched their model to that. So in our case, which I tested, we tested the cafe in 2015 in a residential area, right, where people were living permanently. So it got the feedback, but it's not built for, this idea is not for that place. This idea is for places like next to the airport, next to the bus stations, next to the railway stations, and I'm going to explain why is that exactly. Why is these travel cafes designed for that place. Right, so once we have done that, once we have built that change to a great degree, I would say not the entirety of covering the entire nation, but at least a few major cities and circuits, then we can start generating this data. Now, this data is going to be comprehensive, and a customer, a client, a traveler, once he's connected to us, he is never going to go away because there's nothing like this right now. We have OTAs, but OTAs are not personal. Okay, so this is what our target customer is. It's the backpackers and budget travelers, both foreigners and domestic. And I can say that 400 to 500 million people in India are young. They are in the age group which travel a lot. So we are focusing on the domestic market as well and not just foreigners. The problem here is the travel industry in India is highly disorganized, and it ruins the entire experience with huge costs. So the solution that we are providing is we have a well-designed single service point for all the traveler needs, and it's going to be 24/7 nationwide network backed by IT support. Right, so this is our solution to the problem. We can go to the next slide. Right, so how exactly do we acquire our customers? So what we're going to do is, what we're already doing is create a brand through targeted marketing at specific locations in India and abroad. So I watched this interview with Dan, and he said that he got really good results with SEO and also by creating videos of his own. And that's what we already are doing. We have a YouTube channel where we are producing short videos of 2 to 10 minutes about India, India Explained, things like that. So that's how we get people's attention. And then we have to target specific locations where people start thinking about what they're going to need in India, and we're going to place ourselves right in those positions. We're going to run a creative social media campaign using, as I told, short films and videos touching people emotionally on the subject of travel. This is something like what Nike does, and what Steve Jobs has talked about is about his marketing strategy of connecting emotionally with the customers. So promoting referrals and using branded merchandise is to boost the word of mouth publicity. In my experience of working in this field for about 3 to 4 years, I've seen that word of mouth publicity works best in this field where you have one traveler recommending this place to another one. So we're going to boost that by promoting referrals. We're going to actually give cashbacks and other incentives, and also use branded merchandise, like we're going to gift bags, or maybe print everything, print our logo and things, and so people start having conversations about our brand, and then they tell, okay, I found this there. Okay. Another thing is that we're going to use creative means. I need to cover, can you go back? Yeah. So we are going to connect with local service providers to incentivize leads. Now, this is something very Indian, where you have people on the road providing services. So we're going to connect with them. This is something very unconventional, which you cannot find in the West. Right, we're going to make a strong statement about our core values. As you can see here, we watch your back, we connect you, you travel, we organize, we're on the ground with you 24/7. Right, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, we can go to the next. Yeah. So customer validation, what we have done till now. So we have had about 100 foreign clients and about 5 times of that of domestic clients who validated this idea, appreciated this idea in the travel cafe that we built in the residential area. We acquired them through channels like Couchsurfing, Airbnb, Facebook advertisement, and once we had a good number of people in our travel cafe, they told other people, and through that we got other travelers. That is word of mouth publicity and referrals. So a typical use case of a client coming into the travel cafe is that he wants to travel across Delhi and go somewhere else in the evening. So we are providing him luggage storage. He gets to cook his own food, and he gets fast food there in the cafe. We take care of his medical emergencies. We've already done that for a lot of people. We have a phone support for him, so we give him a number, and he just doesn't need to ask anyone on the street about anything. He can call us directly, and he doesn't pay anything for that. Travel planning and bookings, which is something very standard. Bath and washroom services, which is something very not easy to find in India, where you can just take a bath and just do your stuff and go away. Right, so we're going to provide that. Merchandise, something that is required by all travelers, rucksacks, lunch boxes, medicines, all things like that. Infotainment, you tell them about what's exactly is going in India, videos, books. Telephony is something very important, so give them a phone, we give them a SIM card, which is already working. Social networking is something very important, so we connect them with local people. Something like Couchsurfing, but in the real world, not without the website. Without the website, I mean. And so people come into the cafe and they find the local people, and they talk to them and then go around and make their own acquaintances. Events, accommodation, transportation, this is all standard stuff, which is not in one place, so we're going to bring everything in one place. If we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is the idea. So the challenge for us is to we already built the prototype. Now the challenge for us is to bring it to life in the location that it's needed in, and then to make it work there, and then to make more like that, 2 or 3 more in New Delhi, and then take it ahead. Now this is going to be on ground, and in about 2 to 3 years time, we need to start building upon the data. Now these are the 2 things. So my question to Sramana, my question to you is, first thing is that I would like to tell you this is the first time that I'm officially pitching this idea in front of someone. I've been working on this, me and my team. I've been working on this for 2-3 years, but this is the first time I'm officially talking to anyone on a formal platform anywhere, offline or online. So this is a very big thing for me. So what kind of investors would be interested in this kind of idea, which is kind of long term, which is going to dig deep, which is going to generate revenues? Of course, for the first day, if you have a cafe, you start selling burgers and Coke and everything, stuff like that. But it's not $1 million idea from the day one. But then you need to stick in, and in about 3 to 5 years' time, once you do everything right, you're going to have the big data thing, and then you can use it in many ways. I'm not going to spend time on that. It's pretty obvious how we're going to, the possibilities. So my first question is, what kind of investors?
The kind of investors that may be interested in this idea, Pratik, is friends and family. If you're looking at professional investors, whether it's angels or VCs, you have to fully internalize the fact that these people are looking to go from $0 to $100 million in revenue in 5 to 7 years. And your business doesn't have the characteristics of that, and that's number one. The second thing is stage, right? This is kind of concept stage, really. You don't have this validated in any reasonable way. Right now you don't have a pilot site that works, that has all the pieces validated, whether it's customer acquisition or financials, all of that stuff. So, so I think this is not a kind of business that is ready for any kind of venture financing. So now, so the other question that came to my mind as I was listening to you, a couple of questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dan to weigh in. One is, you mentioned that there are 200, 300 million young people in India. Well, that may be true, but the truth is you have to zero in on just the people who travel in the way that they travel, that you want them to travel. So you are looking for the backpackers who are traveling through the train stations and of a certain age group. So, and if you put all those filters, you'll see that this 200, 300 million, 400 million number is going to very quickly shrink to a few million, maybe 10 million, but it's not going to be hundreds of millions, but it's more likely actually to be in the 1 or 2 or 3 million kind of number, which is good. Because then you can really deeply understand the characteristics of that audience and design your value proposition around that. That's one thing. And the second thing is a pure practical, pragmatic question. And I'm, I'm thinking of your idea, and I'm putting that in the context of my primary experience has been traveling in India through the Howrah station in Calcutta. I'm just thinking that how on earth, if somebody doesn't actually tell me about you ahead of time, just from a foot traffic point of view, I would not be able to find your travel cafe in Howrah station. It's too big, too crowded, too messy. So that you've actually answered my my thing that I would have answered. So the whole challenge for us in the marketing domain is to tell people beforehand. So when they're in their places, for example, you're in somewhere in the States right now and you start thinking coming to Calcutta. So this is the time when you have got to know about our cafe, not when you land in Howrah and not when you're on the street. So you got to know right now when you actually start thinking. So that's the challenge for us. We've got to get into places where people actually start thinking about coming to India. You have to think of this business as an online first model, because your entire brand engagement it's an online offline model, which is an interesting model because it's a differentiated model, but it also has more costs and more complexity on many levels. Operationally, it's a much more complex model. But you have to think of this as an online offline model, leading with online. Your customer acquisition will have to be online. And if that is the case, then you are talking to not only Indian customers, and you're also talking to foreign customers. You may think of the brand as changing the brand. Your Banjara is not going to fly with foreign travelers. It's too complicated. It doesn't mean anything to them. Dan, let me turn it over to you for feedback. Dan?
So do I speak now? Okay.
I was asking Dan for his input, but go ahead.
Sorry, I was on mute there, guys. I apologize. Prateek, I love your idea. I love your enthusiasm. I want to give you some good feedback because I am not. So congratulations to you and your idea and your team. You came up with some good stuff here, and I'll give you my 2 cents for what it's worth. I am not a world traveler, although I do business trips. I just came back from Barcelona, Spain, and I was scared to death to go out in the streets because I don't want to ask anybody anything because I don't speak Spanish. So I can imagine I'd be overwhelmed if I went to India. I have some friends who live there, who go back and forth, but I've never had the pleasure to be there myself. The idea that you had in your earlier slides about phone support would suppress my fears of going to India, because now I can go to a destination location, I can pick up my phone and ask my questions without feeling awkward, and I'm more comfortable to learn what it is I need to do and where I need to go. The bath and washroom ideology, I have friends with older children that travel that I would assume would use that. I love that. I don't like going anywhere without bath or washrooms. I think that's an awesome idea. The toy in the Happy Meal, since you spoke about McDonald's, is giving them a phone. That's pretty cool, right? If they had a phone or a SIM card or something to operate and be able to communicate in India without having to worry about extended plans or whatever it is, the ability for them to communicate while on vacation, while traveling, is awesome. So those three things, I want to give you kudos. Congratulations for thinking them through. That's cool. Now, how do you get them there? Sramana just hit the nail on the head, and you confirmed. Pre-plan a target audience and use it from a digital marketing perspective. Whether you're trying to get me to come to India, or if I'm thinking about going to India, I want you to go to Facebook and use similar audiences. And I want you to market the living daylights out of me. It chase me everywhere I go to tell me that I need to come to your facility to get this kind of support and this kind of warm welcome and have that kind of sense of security, right? I want to have an enjoyable trip. And you're on to the experience part. You got that figured out. But I think what's important is investing your monies into driving that people to you, because you are going to be a destination location. Now, with being a destination location, Sramana also hit the nail on the head. If you're trying to drive Westerners or people from Europe, you're going to have to create a name that will strike a nerve amongst all audiences. I didn't understand what your name means while creative in your country and your heritage. That doesn't mean anything to me. And you want to cater to the people who have the money. Right? You're going after the people that have the money. You got to strike a nerve with them. So coming up with a brand and a name that's going to be practical to your audience that can go viral is a big deal. If someone can't spell the name, easily identify the name, it's going to be very hard for you to market that or a logo associated with it. So as you can see with my company, it's cleanitsupply.com. Well, what do you think you're going to go there for, right? You're going to clean something. You're going to clean it up, right? So you want to start focusing on a name surrounding who's going to be spending the money, and so that I would reinforce Sramana's idea of branding that to who's got the money. But I love the idea. I can hear the energy and the excitement in your voice, and I absolutely love it. It gives me goosebumps because I've been there, and it's refreshing. And I believe that you could also be very, very successful with one location. 2 locations. I don't think you need, I think you could bootstrap that, raise money from friends and family, reinvest your own money, work hard, sweat equity, and do digital marketing very inexpensively. But I believe you could be wildly successful with a handful of stores, 1 or 2 or 5. I don't know that you need 20 or a zillion. Hit base hits first. In the Western culture, the all famous sports is baseball, and we say, hit base hits before you start to swing for the fences for grand slams and home runs. So prove the model out and be a profitable business. That's when you'll be able to sell it to venture capital if you decide to, or the next step.
So Pratik, your other questions on this slide about big data. Right now, you will not be able to sell this as a big data idea. Because you don't, it's going to be a long time and many cafes and lots of customers before this is going to be a big data idea. So even if you try to sell this as a big data idea, no one's going to buy it. I would take that out of this presentation altogether. You have no credibility there. Can you crowdsource this idea? I wouldn't crowdsource this idea. I would control it as tightly as possible. The first cafe, I would look at every little detail. Every knob, every lever that you can tweak or move to figure out exactly how this is going to flow and how the business is going to be built, and get one cafe right and get the online customer acquisition piece right. So maybe put it next to the Delhi train station, get your online presence right, but you have to bootstrap all this. There is nobody who's going to invest at this stage to get these pieces to fall in line. And your question about whether you can hire people, yes, absolutely, you can hire people. You can do all of that through hired staff, but it all costs money, and that's just you're going to have to figure out a bootstrapping strategy.
Right. So yeah, I got an idea of what you're trying to say, and I understand that I have to put my own money. But I'm betting on the fact that I might find someone here in Delhi. We have some people who might want to work with me on this and put because I don't have that amount of money. I need at least let's say $1 million rupees, 5 million rupees right now to start it. Next to the New Delhi railway station for the marketing, for the technology thing, for the app and website. No, I'm betting on the fact that I'm going to find someone who's going to work with me from the start. Somebody who's already in this business, maybe. So let's call him a friend. Let's call him a friend for now. So what my question is, how much?
There's a big difference, Pratik. There's a big difference between a random person and a friend or a family member. A random person who's looking at this as a business is going to be a lot less willing to do it, to invest. A friend or a family member doesn't invest in the business, they invest in you. They know you, they know your energy, they know your commitment, they know your capabilities, and then that's the circumstance in which you would be able to. That's why friends and family rounds are the only rounds that work at this stage of a business. Professional investor rounds just don't work.
Right.
And random people definitely don't work.
Yeah, I got this idea. So my final question is, let's just hypothetically think that there is this guy who is my friend, whom I don't know, who has the money. So how much equity should I give to him at this stage, considering the fact that I'm not willing to partner with anyone on this idea as far as the vision and the design part is concerned, because I see how that can create contradictions. I watched this movie about govworks.com, which was in US. We had the example of housing.com in India, how they crashed. So I don't want to partner with the on the vision part and the design part. Now, considering this, how much should I be willing to give as equity if there is one guy, let's say my friend, who has the money?
We're going to need to move on. The best way to do very early stage financing, the stage you're in, is in the form of convertible debt, not equity.
Okay.
Right now, your valuation is so low that any kind of equity financing is going to be, unduly diluted.
Consumed everything.
At this stage, the best thing is convertible debt. You can convert it into equity later on when the round is priced and so forth. But in your case, I wouldn't assume that you are ever going to raise money. You may have to do this organically, because it's not clear to me that this is a venture scale growth company.
Yeah, I got your point. So there's some magic is going to happen, and only then I'm going to raise that money. So thanks a lot. I'm really excited about the entire thing, about Dan's review and the answers that you gave me. This is my first thing that I've done, so I'm really excited. Thanks a lot.
Well, good luck. I am actually a big traveler, so I was listening to you and getting points that you're making are very, very true. Storing luggage, in a railway station is tricky.
And the
washrooms are tricky.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're going to need to move on.
Yep.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Okay, we're going to do a few very quick video tutorials, folks. It's something that I've been trying to squeeze in for a few sessions today till now, and we haven't been able to find the time because all the sessions tend to be